You ever wonder how DJs broadcast live when they're not at the station? Well, David Tripp will show you how.
Hey, well, my name is David Tripp. Rack, and we have 1/4-inch inputs that we put into our auxiliary SIN outputs, and we have some male XLR connectors that are going to go into our IP codec, which I'm going to show you in just a second. We have, coming from the IP codec, a female XLR connection that goes into a 1/4-inch connection, which connects to one of the modules on the board, which allows us to monitor the radio station. So we're going to start piecing together all the components that we use to get the remote signal hooker. So we start with the XLR cable for microphone, plug it into the first pot on the board or module. Of course, connect the microphone to the XLR cable. Go ahead and plug in my rack unit here, and also get my AC 60 cycle 120 volt power going into the tie line. Okay, so now what I need to do is get everything connected from the audio mixer to the IP codec. Channels 1 and 2, which will act as my right and left channels. Then what I'll do is I'll take these male XLRs and plug them into the female receivers on the tie line. Of course, you'll hear them lock when I do that, and this is what's going to carry our information to and from the IP codec. So I'm going to take this and plug it into the wall and plug it in right here where you see the LAN for local area network access. You'll see some lights begin to flash. Okay, now it says unavailable, and you want it to say enter #. So then what I'll do is I will hit enter dial and come back down here, and it tells me that's the last IP address that I dialed, 10.3.9.75. This is a VU meter, so this is actually showing us that we have audio coming in from the radio station. But for sound to be heard locally, of course, we want to use our 16 gauge speaker cable, which is right here, and plug into one of the outputs. For our purposes, I'm only going to use one channel. I'm going to come over to the other end and use this pretty much identical molded connector and plug it into the back of this speaker. And as you see, when I'm plugging it in, I'm looking for the molded part, pushing in and turning to the right to make it lock, and it's secure. Alright, this is our next step in the process. I'm selecting buttons right here. You got the main output, which is for the audio mixer, and you have the auxiliary 1 and 2 output, which is right here. So I would control my levels going into the codec with these two knobs. I would control my levels overall on the main mix and up here on the gain. I'm going to fire up my audio system, and you should see all the pretty lights, and I can control that here. Then I can actually speak into the microphone, over-modulate it just a little bit because I've got too much gain going on there. And that's pretty much what we do to get set up for an audio IP remote.